Okay, in the last video we took care of the details section. There is one thing that we did not do while we were in there, and one thing that that all of the details sections share, and that is the header inside head. So what we're going to do is put in the styles for that because it all goes together in the details section. So the inside head is a div, and it has a width of, well, it's a header, which is a block level element. It has a width of 100%. It floats left, margin at the top and bottom of 10 pixels, and the position is relative. Now I'll show you why we're using this in a minute. Inside head has an H2 in it. The H2 is, of course, a block level element, and we're going to make it 80% wide. Looking at what we are trying to create, we have a H2 and the logo, and this happens on every one of these pages. And so we're putting the logo next to the H2, which means that this needs to be, they need to equal 100%. So the width is 80%. We have the font family is Droid Serif in quotes, Times New Roman in quotes, Times, and then there's a coding mistake here. It should be serif because those are all serif fonts. The font weight should not be normal. It should actually be 400 because that's how these fonts came over. The font size is 3.8 rems. The line height is 150%. It's going to float left, align left, and it has a text transform of none. We have to put that in because the last time we had an H2, it had a text transform of uppercase, uppercase. So it's here. This was the H2 before. So we need to knock it down so that it's not all caps. The color for the inside head is the 36261B, and we are putting in position absolute bottom 0. What that's going to do, this is the done version here. What it will do is align the portfolio, or the H1, the H2, with the bottom of the logo. So we're going to save this, take a look here. Now you see that they're kind of on top of each other right now, and that's okay because we haven't yet defined anything with the logo, the div that the logo's in. So let's go ahead and define that, and that is inside head div. We have an unnamed div in there. There's no reason to put a name on it because it's the only div that's going to appear in the inside head element. Just real quick, let's take a look at the source code. We have the H2, and then there's a div inside of it. That's the only thing that ever appears inside this header called inside head. So the style on that is it's going to float right. Its width is 20% because the H2 is 80%. It's going to text align right so that that logo goes all the way over to the right side. And we're going to put some padding on the top and bottom of 8 pixels and nothing side to side. As you can see, that it popped the logo, or all of them actually, popped the logos off to the side. Now, let me show you why it is that we put that positioning in. There are 3 different places we have positioning in this document so far. We have in the content section, we have a position relative. Now remember that that content repeats for each of these bars of color. Each of the sections has its own content wrapper, so that content is specific to only this block. So if we leave that on and we decide that we're going to take this position relative for the header off, something very interesting happens. We are still saying position absolute bottom 0, and look up at it here, and it's just the H2 that's being affected. So that H2 has gone to the bottom of this section. If we go ahead and put that back on, but we don't have position absolute here, plays a little bit nicer. I want to, while we're looking at this, I want to go ahead and put on the light blue background so we can see this a little bit better. So this whole section has this light blue background, and the section has the class of light blue. So on the light blue we have the black background. The color of the text is going to black. It's floating left and has some padding on it that is just at the bottom. It's 40 pixels at the bottom. That helps a little bit. We can see what's going on now. We're still saying on this that we want it to go to the bottom, but we're no longer telling it absolute positioning, so it doesn't really know where to go. It's still kind of floating up in the air. So if we take that comment off, you'll see that it now lines up at the bottom of the J29 logo. So we needed all of those positionings to make this line up there.